Hey guys, and welcome back to Debt-Free Divorcee. My name is Kiyosha Howard. If you're new here, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for being patient and being with me on this journey of providing this valuable resource to women who are divorced. And so today's conversation is going to be all about how to manage your money after divorce. And this particular episode is near and dear to my heart because it's actually a conversation with my dear friend and mentor, Vanessa Armorer. And Vanessa is an amazing woman of God who has been helping people manage their money well for a very long time. And she works in the financial services space. And so we just have a conversation, an honest conversation about what it looks like to rebuild financially after divorce. And so Vanessa has her own testimony of divorce. And so you will see that. And if you're wondering why it's me here and not me and Vanessa, it's because we recorded this episode over a year ago. And at the time, the video messed up. And so we have the audio, but the video messed up. And honestly, I was going to just scrap it. I was going to say, okay, it didn't work out, whatever. But the Lord laid it on my heart that the information contained in this episode is very valuable, that it needs to get out. And so I hope and I pray that you are able to absorb some of this good information. If you like what you hear in this episode, please make sure that you share it with someone else who needs it. We know that 50% of marriages are ending in divorce, which is an awful number, but it is the reality of the world that we live in. So chances are you know somebody who can benefit from this channel. So subscribe, comment, and make sure you send this episode to someone else who can be blessed by it. Thanks for watching. Today, we are talking about how to manage your money after divorce. And I am joined by Vanessa Armorer, a dear sister friend. Vanessa empowers individuals to make bold moves, to transform their finances, and command the rooms they enter. She's passionate about financial literacy and the freedom it brings, and she strives to make an impact in the lives of those she encounters, including mine. Thank you so much for joining me, Vanessa.
Thanks for having me, Kiyosha. Happy to be here.
Yes, of course. So, you just have so much wisdom, and particularly when it comes to personal finance. But I want to start just kind of with some of your own personal story, because as I got to know you, I learned, that you've also been through a divorce. And so you understand firsthand kind of this process of healing and then managing your finances again for yourself and all of that. So share a little bit about your own journey with divorce.
Sure. Thank you so much. I will start a little bit back. I was born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago, and to a single parent household. My mom raised three of us in the home and did everything she could to make sure that we had pretty much most of what we needed and some of what we wanted. So I've always had the opportunity to see firsthand what it is to really live and sacrifice and live below your means. And that kind of transcended into my adulthood. I migrated to the US. I went to college here. And then I got divorced and I got married at an early age. And then that allowed me to actually handle the finances of the marriage wholeheartedly. And again, took everything that I learned watching my mom into that, and just really being able to make sure everything was managed in a seamless manner for our household. 9.5 years later, that marriage dissolved, and I was left starting over. I left that marriage by choice, not taking anything with me, so I didn't contest anything. And that was a personal decision that I had made for myself so that I can actually start my healing journey. That resulted in me basically starting from scratch. At the time, I had a job, so I had the stability of income, but I started over. I had to get an apartment, and I had to really start building my life all over again. So, started very small with just what I learned, right? Make sure you have everything you need. So I really cut out a lot of the extracurricular things that were discretionary, to make sure that I can actually start building that foundation again on my own.
Yeah. Wow. I'm hearing you talk, and there's so many parallels. Thinking about like starting over from scratch, not taking anything. Like when I left, I brought my daughter's bedroom, and that was just so she could be comfortable and have what she needed, but just new apartment, blank slate, starting from scratch. And so just, yeah, so many connection points there. But so as you're starting over, you're doing everything, you're starting from scratch, like you said, and you're kind of taking those things that you learned from your mom and while growing up with your mom in terms of just like taking on what you need and only worrying about the things that you need. How did you really get on your feet financially? Like, when did you feel like, I'm stable and I've kind of gotten to a place where I can move a little bit more freely?
Right. Just some of the principles that I had learned along the way was really just making sure you have some funds set aside for an emergency, and then actually starting to I did my own research around debt, paying off your debt, and, calling creditors and asking, negotiating things. So some of those skills I kind of learned on myself first. So I just started figuring out, listen, I need to be able to keep more than I'm putting out. So just starting reading up on it, looking at the creditors' websites, and going to all the credit bureaus and understanding how they look at your credit and what they're actually looking for, and started making sure that I was paying down that debt with what I was saving, so that when I can keep whatever I was having for income was more so on my side, not on their side. So just started, using those principles along the way. And after a while, I started embedding myself in community with other sisters that might have either gone through a divorce or understood. I had a really good coworker that, knew the journey that I was on and was just really a good support system for me, to bounce ideas off of, for me to hold me accountable to what I said I was going to do, and would, challenge me. How are you doing with that? You said you were going to pay this off. And she was
Mhm.
just constantly the police for me in my life around, listen, we're trying to get you back to this place, and I really need you focusing on what you said you're going to do. So that really helped me along the way as well.
Yeah, that accountability piece is so important. And it's also one of the hardest pieces to get, right? Like sometimes we just don't want to let anybody else in. We don't really want to reveal to others what's going on with us in many areas, but financially, definitely being a hard thing to let people in on. So I love that you said that because it's so important and so needed for us.
Yes.
And so from there, now then you start actually financial coaching yourself and helping other women and men and just other people in general with their finances. So how do we go from just rebuilding yourself to actually holding hands and walking alongside others on their financial journeys?
Yeah. I laugh because it started way before I even migrated to the US, and I didn't see the pieces coming together. My first job out of high school, official job, I worked at a bank. And my role was on the new accounts desk, and it was really helping individuals reconcile their their income and their expenses,
Wow.
because they, in most cases they didn't know where the money was going. So it started way back then, and I didn't even realize it. When I relocated from Maryland to Georgia, where I'm currently at, I found a couple financial courses at my church that really helped me understand from a biblical perspective what the Bible actually teaches us about money and possessions, and how to actually walk that out every single day. So I took those classes as a student. And once I finished those classes, something just clicked inside of me that this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing right here. So I went ahead and got certified. I took budget coaching training at the church. I took it outside the church. I took Dave Ramsey's financial master training. I did everything because I knew this is what I need to be doing. I want to help people gain a healthy relationship with money, that it's no longer ruling them, but they are actually telling the money what to do. So you give it a job, and you allow it to play that job.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Financial coach master training.
Yes.
And so, I think one of the things, because, as budget coaches, we walk with people, we're able to identify some of the principles of like, this is how much money you need to save. These are areas where you can cut some spending, but it truly is the emotional things and the spiritual things that are going on with people that are holding them back or keeping them from being able to truly move towards those goals that they have set for themselves. So, what can
Yes.
you say about just navigating the emotional state while also balancing the budget, particularly for women who are recently divorced or going through a divorce?
Yes. I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. We don't realize how much the emotional part of it plays in how we navigate our finances, right? Someone who recently went through a divorce, a woman that went through a divorce, is still trying to manage the household, particularly if she has children, to make sure that that stays afloat while she's still trying to deal with how her emotional well-being is being impacted. So one of the things that I would say is definitely not ignoring either one of those things, but finding a healthy balance, particularly finding a community or finding a budget coach that can actually be an expert in divorcees or in people that have navigated like yourself. You've spent the time and the effort and the expertise and experience perfecting your craft so that you can help those that have gone through that same experience. So the first thing would really be identifying what are some of the emotional barriers that they're dealing with. What are some of those spiritual challenges that they may have, even that transcends back from their childhood, that may be barriers to them actually stepping out and conquering what they want to do in their finances as a divorcee. And then once you identify those, start building the actual action plan that would help them now identify those challenges, put things in place to overcome them, and then start navigating towards making a change in the financial aspect of it as well.
Coming out of divorce, there's all these things going on in your mind. You're thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I going to pay for my children to go to college? Where am I going to live? I was maybe living in a home and I had a mortgage and now I'm renting an apartment, but I want to be a homeowner again. Like there's so many financial goals that we have. And sometimes it's like so much and we don't know what to do first, second, third. Like, do I try to get another house? Do I need to finance a car? Like what can we say, or what would you advise for someone recently coming out of a divorce to say, these are some things that you want to make sure you do, but these are some things that you don't really want to rush into right now, or that you don't really want to try to tackle in the early days or months after a divorce?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll start with the recommended don'ts. I would recommend avoiding anyone or anything that continues to feed any type of anger or resentment,
Mm,
right? Especially when you're trying to build a path forward, because those things just continue to keep you going back to what you're trying to overcome.
yeah.
So avoid any person or thing that keeps you in that pattern of resentment and anger. Also, those things can result in emotional spending. So avoid any type of emotional spending when it comes to thinking that, well, I deserve this. Well, now that I'm divorced, or any type of resentment spending, right? I'm going to rack up this card, or I'm going to, any types of behaviors that put you in those places, try to avoid those as much as possible. And then also find individuals that you can call when you find yourself going to those places. And then some things that I would say that you would want to look at doing would be actually, we talked a little bit about getting a coach in that space, right? A financial divorce coach, right? So someone that would walk through navigating all of the pieces that may be impacted by a divorce as it pertains to you establishing individual financial credit and all those things moving forward. Surround yourself with community of people that can uplift your spirits as you're trying to go through these things, right? Whether it's a church community, whether it's a women's group, a singles group, or, your gym partners, whatever those things are, things that uplift your spirit during that time, because it does take a lot to kind of put the pieces together and prioritize what it is that you want to do. And all of those things are important. It just may mean that some things may have to press pause while you get the other things in place first, and then you can pick them back up once you're a little bit more stable on there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. And I have to go back to that first piece that you talked about with like the emotional spending because she was me, I was her, like I was. And for me, it wasn't even so much resentment. I guess there must have been a layer of resentment in there, but for me, it really was like validation. It was
Mhm.
like, I need you to see that, like, I'm doing fine,
Yeah.
that I am okay, that, like, I left that place with nothing, but
Mm.
look at me now,
Look at
right?
me.
Like,
Yeah.
so it's but and it happens so subtly that you don't even realize that that's what's going on, until, thank the Lord, God showed me, like, this is
Yeah.
what you're doing and this is not okay and you need to get to the bottom of this. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. That emotional spending, man, we don't realize how tied together our emotions and our money really are.
Yes.
Yeah. um okay, so let's just go over some basic budgeting principles. One of the things I tell the women that I coach is that we don't want to try to do too much at one time, right? We want to kind of ease into this. We want
Mm-hmm.
to make sure we got some basic principles down first before we go trying to do all this extra stuff. So let's just talk about just having a budget. How
Mm-hmm.
important is it to have a budget and why?
Well, the first thing I would say is I like to use the word spending plan because
Hmm.
it's a little bit disarming than the word budget. Because my experience of coaching, as soon as I say budget, everybody, their fists get tight. They get really defensive because they think you're taking something away from them.
Hmm.
So I try as best as possible to use the word spending plan because it kind of helps them see, listen, I'm not really trying to take anything away from you. I'm just really trying to move some things around to allow you to still be able to have all of the things that you think are important to you at this time. So from a spending plan perspective, I think it's really important to have it because it's like the guardrails for your money. When you're riding a bike, when you're first starting, you have training wheels, or when you're in the hillside or whatever, there's those guardrails that keep you safe. I view a spending plan slash budget to do the same thing, right? It helps keep you within the guardrails that you set in a certain category when it comes to your money. I also encourage people to realize that a spending plan is unique to you. It's not a broad brush approach where everybody has the same amount in that bucket. So you tell me what's important to you, and we'll build a plan that ensures that you can still get the things that are important to you. If you like to get your nails done, how can we still keep that instead of maybe having it twice a month? You might be only able to have it once a month, but we still want to make sure that we keep those things that you enjoy doing, that are desirable for you. So it still allows you to live, but it helps you be a little bit more structured and it builds the discipline necessary to be able to get out of that debt and to be able to build those buckets of money, the reserves that we talk about, the emergency fund, college fund, things like that. So making sure that we're putting those things in place inside of the spending plan, and then maybe playing a little bit of shuffleboard to move things around to make that budget slash spending plan unique to the person that I'm building it for.
Got it. Oh, that's so good. And I love that too because I call it a money to-do list. I'm like, I can't go to the store. I can't go to grocery shopping without a to-do list because if I
Mhm.
go, I'm gonna be buying everything. I'm gonna be on the candy aisle, and I know I'm not supposed to be on the candy aisle, right? So I
Yeah.
need that to-do list for my money. So yes, absolutely agree. Having another word for it is
Mhm.
wise. Do you have any specific advice for a woman who is managing finances for the first time on her own? She's been married, maybe she got married young. Now there's no more husband in the picture. She's one income and she's like, where do I start?
Yeah. First thing will be take a deep breath because it can be overwhelming. Fortunately, we have platforms like this, coaches like you and me that are actually available to say, hey, let's talk about this, right? Let's walk with you through this. Reach out and spend that first connection just laying it all out, not diving right into it and thinking you're going to leave there with a plan right away. Let's figure out what exactly is going on, where all the pieces buried, and let's start taking them out of the box and then starting to build a puzzle of what your new life is going to look like. Because it may feel like it's shattered and in all these different pieces, but we know that everything has a place and a purpose. So it's really now building that new puzzle for your life and taking those pieces and putting them into place. So the biggest thing for me is actually getting a coach. Coaches have coaches too. So we're
Yeah.
not here just telling people to get coaches. We actually have our own coaches for different things in our lives because they play such a pivotal role. And for somebody that it's their first time, it's so imperative that you don't do it alone. Find someone that would be able to, you feel safe with. You can let them into that space. I know we've grown up in a culture where we're very private when it comes to our finances, but we're about financial freedom and we're about freedom in Christ and we're about people being able to be set free from things that have kept them bound for so long. And number one of those is money. And I'm very big on that, helping people realize, no, it's the shackles are in our mind when it comes to money. So if we can just break free from that and let someone in that can help us, we can reap the benefits of it so much faster. So that's one of the things I'm very, very proud to be a part of this community, helping people figure that all out.
Yes. Oh, that is so good. So, so good. So, what if sis is just like, you know what? This ain't for me. This money to-do list, this spending plan, it's not for me. I can't do it. I just, no.
Well, my first question would be, what part of it is not for you,
Mm,
right? What have you tried already,
mm,
right? Because many times people, when you have a fear of something that you haven't done before, it's really easy to say, no, that's not for me. And I've never even tried it,
mm.
right?
That's
So
good.
one of the things when I start getting resistance like that, I usually ask, well, what if I can show you a way that you haven't tried before?
Yeah.
Would you be
That's
open to
good.
that?
That's good. That's good. It is sometimes the fear of the unknown. It's like you haven't even tried it. You just are already kind of
Yeah.
built up in your own like mind about what it's going to be. So you just
Yes.
shut down.
Yep.
But we got to be willing to try some things if we're going to see a difference for
That's
sure. Yeah. So one of the really important aspects of personal finance that I think is overlooked sometimes is life insurance.
mm-hmm.
And I am very I'm very passionate about this, especially for single moms,
Mm-hmm.
that like you need something in place because you have little people who are dependent on you. And so, but sometimes we kind of go in with blinders on and we're just like, oh, I can't worry about that right now. I can't think about it right now. Um, but I would love to hear your take because you also are involved in the insurance space. And so I would love to hear your take on just the importance of having life insurance, not even the investment side of things, just having the death benefit there.
Yeah, sure. Um, I was like you when I first found this piece of information out. My mind was blown. But life insurance is very crucial for individuals, but even more so for parents, right? Because you have someone else depending on you. So when you look at life insurance, it provides financial stability and protection for you and your loved ones in case of an emergency or in case of an untimely death, right? Or unfortunate death. So when we look at life insurance, sometimes people think, well, I have to pass away for my loved ones to get the benefit. Well, there are living benefits now in the new wave of life insurance where you can actually use that in case of you have a medical emergency. You and your family are still taken care of. It can still make sure your mortgage is paid, your rent is paid up, and things like that, so that you guys have a roof over your head. You can take care of the needs of you and your loved ones. It also provides stability in the case of a non-custodial parent, right? If that person passes away, you can still be able to receive the benefits to take care of that child in the case of that person passing away. So it's not just the parent that's actually having custody and taking care of the child, but we want to make sure that the non-custodial parent understands the benefit of that as well, because you are still making sure that in the event that you're not here, your kids are also taken care of, right? So that's another big miss that I think people don't talk a lot about, is that, if you have children and you love them, one of the best things you can do for them is ensure that you take care of them till they become an adult and can take care of themselves, right? So we also know, there are different types of life insurance. There's some that are short term or for a fixed time. There are others that can be used as investment vehicles for children for a later date. but my focus I want to stay on is the one that takes care of the short-term needs, right? It has a time that it would expire, but it can actually come into place in times when you least expect it, and you have to draw from that in the case of an emergency to take care of you and those kids.
Vanessa, listen, I can sit and I can talk to you all the live long day, as you know, and as I have often done. So, but
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the platform and having this conversation with me. I would love to give you an opportunity to share anything else that may be on your heart. If there's anything that maybe we didn't touch on that you think is important and want to state before we wrap up.
Yeah. Well, first, I want to thank you, Kiosha, for giving me the opportunity to come on. You are doing such amazing work in this space. I'm so grateful that I don't just get to serve with you in ministry, but I have you as a dear friend, and that is priceless to me. I just want to encourage those that would actually see this, that we are in this together, and particularly as women and divorced women, our life is not over when the divorce ends. We're writing a new chapter in our story. So I just encourage each and every person to really listen to the things that are said here. Let it resonate with you. Ask yourself the question, am I where I desire to be? And if not, who can I have that can come alongside me to help me on that journey? So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come on. I bless you. I bless your listeners and everyone that will come in contact with this. And I'm just excited to see what this podcast is going to yield coming forward.
Amen. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Before we go, tell the people where they can find you if they want to get in touch.
Yes, my website is www.yourstridesolutions.com. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Vanessa. As she stated, all of her details and links will be in the description of the video and on the podcast show notes as well. So thank you again, Vanessa, and thank you all for listening. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.